Hey there, ready for another deep dive? Today we're tackling a challenge so many of us face, growing a small business. We're diving deep into Donald Miller's book, How to Grow Your Small Business. Think of it as a cheat sheet for his proven frameworks.
Exactly. Like we're distilling the strategies that helped Donald himself go from 4 employees to 30, and he quadrupled his revenue. The cool part is these principles work if you're solo or have a team.
So many aha moments coming up, I think. Actionable tools whether you're just starting out or feeling stuck. Miller kicks things off with this awesome analogy. Your business is like an airplane. To really soar, you've got to focus on 6 key parts.
Yeah, he calls it the small business flight plan. Starts with your guiding principles, like the cockpit setting your direction. Then you've got your engines, marketing, and sales. Those power you forward.
This is so visual. And of course, you need those wings, your products, generating lift. But it doesn't stop there. The body of the plane. That's your overhead and operations. Staying lean and efficient, that's mission critical.
You can't ignore that practical side. And last but not least, cash flow. The fuel that keeps you in the air.
I love this analogy. It shows how it's all connected. You can have an amazing marketing campaign, but if your product's not there, you're not going far.
Exactly. Like he says, if your body is too bulky, meaning your overhead is too high, even powerful engines might not be enough to get you off the ground.
It's about finding that balance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's talk about business on a mission. I think a lot of businesses get this wrong.
He's got strong opinions about this for sure. Most mission statements are vague and fluffy. Miller has a formula to make it actionable. 3 specific economic objectives, a deadline, and the why.
He calls it narrative traction. It's like creating a story. It pulls your team towards a shared goal. Can't just say, we want to be the best. What does that even mean?
You need targets. He gives this restaurant example. Instead of saying we'll be known for desserts, they set a goal. We'll average 47 desserts per dinner segment each night.
Now that's a goal that gets people moving. Suddenly, everyone's figuring out how to hit that number. Separate dessert menu. Servers suggesting dessert.
It goes from a fuzzy idea to something real. And what's cool, Miller says your mission statement isn't permanent. You revisit it, adapt it as your business grows.
It's a living document, not locking you in forever. And this is where things get interesting. Miller gets into how storytelling is essential for marketing. I'll admit, at first I was like, really?
Seems counterintuitive, right? His argument is that customers are drawn to brands that make them the hero, not the business.
So not bragging about how great you are. It's showing your customer how your product helps them overcome their challenges, achieve their goals.
You got it. It's tapping into those needs and desires. Nobody cares if your grandpa started the company. They care if your product solves their problem. And this is where the story brand framework comes in. Think of it as the roadmap to crafting a brand story. That really resonates.
Okay, I'm all ears. Walk me through it.
7 elements. It starts with a character. Who has a problem? They meet a guide, gives them a plan, calls them to action. This helps them avoid failure and ultimately achieve success.
That's actually simple when you break it down. It's like those classic story structures from school.
Exactly. Miller gives some great examples of how this applies to real businesses, like that electric bike company. It's not about selling a bike, it's selling those positive outcomes, saving on gas, beating traffic, feeling good.
It's that deeper desire, the transformation they're seeking. That's what makes a $3,000 price tag feel okay. Okay, so we've got this compelling story, but how do we actually turn that into sales? This is the part a lot of us dread.
I hear you. But Miller makes sales feel, dare I say, ethical. He's all about shifting the mindset, from convincing to guiding.
Huge relief, honestly. What's the secret?
He calls it the customer is the hero framework. It's color-coded. It helps structure a sales conversation to feel natural and persuasive.
Color-coded. Okay, now you're talking. Tell me more.
6 colors. Each is a step in the process. Starts with red. Identify the customer's problem. Then we move to purple. Positioning your product as the solution.
Okay, so far so good. I'm visualizing this.
Next is brown. Provide a clear plan, make buying easy. Then we have black. Foreshadow the positive outcome. The obligatory scene where the hero achieves their goal.
Ah, the happy ending. This is all tying back to the story brand framework. It's like we're weaving a narrative through the whole customer journey.
Exactly. And it's not all rosy. We also have gray. Highlight what they avoid by choosing your solution.
So it's not fear-mongering. It's honestly presenting the consequences of inaction.
Right. And finally, we end with green. The clear, confident call to action. You've guided them through the story. Now they take that leap.
Can you give an example? Like in a real conversation?
Imagine you're selling that electric bike. You start by acknowledging the customer's pain point. Maybe they're tired of traffic, or the cost of gas, red. Then you explain how the electric bike provides a solution. Faster, cheaper, good for the environment, purple. You outline easy financing, hassle-free delivery, brown.
I'm seeing how this builds trust, makes them feel comfortable.
Exactly. Then you paint that picture of their life with the bike. Imagine them cruising past traffic, smiling, feeling energized, saving money, black. You remind them of the stress, the wasted time they'll avoid, gray. And finally, invite them to take a test ride, experience that freedom for themselves, green.
This is brilliant. It's a roadmap to create sales pitches that work. And it doesn't feel sleazy or manipulative. It feels like genuine guidance.
Exactly. Being a helpful guide, not a pushy salesperson. Miller tells this great story in the book about buying a watch at the airport. He wanted the watch, but he needed that final nudge, that expertly crafted pitch, to give himself permission to splurge.
Oh, I remember that story. I think we've all been there. Sometimes we need that little push to make a decision, and a well-crafted sales pitch can do that. Okay, let's shift gears. Talk about products. Miller calls them the wings of the airplane. They generate lift. So how do we make sure those wings are strong and light? How do we make sure our products are profitable and in demand?
He suggests 3 key exercises: a profitability audit, a new product brainstorm, and product briefs.
Okay, let's unpack those. Profitability audit sounds pretty straightforward. Be honest with ourselves about which products are bringing in the money.
Exactly. Sometimes we get attached, but if they're not contributing, might be time to let go. Miller calls it killing your darlings. Tough, but necessary.
Making space for new, more profitable products to take flight. So the new product brainstorm is about generating those fresh ideas.
Right. And Miller provides 6 categories of problems and product offerings, always in demand. Making money, saving time, reducing stress, building strength, gaining status, creating connection.
Whoa, hold on. I need to write these down. Okay, I'm ready.
Making money is self-explanatory. Saving time is all about efficiency and convenience. Reducing stress. Helping people feel calmer, more in control.
Got it. And building strength can be a lot of things. Physical strength, emotional strength, even financial strength.
Right. Gaining status is about exclusivity, prestige, luxury brands, VIP experiences.
And creating connection is fostering community and belonging. This is fascinating. I can see how this applies to anything.
Exactly. And the product brief? It's about vetting those new ideas. Before investing time and money, it's a detailed document. You outline every aspect of the product: target audience, marketing strategy, profit margins.
Like a feasibility study, making sure it's viable before you go all in.
Exactly. This process might seem tedious, but it's crucial to avoid costly mistakes.
That's like that dance studio example he gives. The owners were thinking about a second location, which would mean more overhead.
But they realized they could make more money by repackaging their existing service to a different market. Instead of dance classes to individuals, they offered corporate team building workshops. Much higher price.
Talk about working smarter, not harder.
Right. And the product brief helps you do that. Forces you to think critically, identify the most profitable path forward.
Okay, this is making me rethink my entire product strategy.
That's what we like to see. It's about continuous improvement, making your wings stronger, more efficient. Now, let's move on to the body of the plane. Managing overhead and operations. And you're telling me it's not just about cutting costs.
I am. Miller actually emphasizes the importance of structure, a management and productivity playbook. It's about creating a system that ensures everyone is working effectively towards those key economic objectives we talked about earlier.
So not just doing more, it's about doing the right things and doing them well.
You got it. It's about maximizing productivity, eliminating wasted time and effort.
And he has a specific system for this, right? Something he developed with an expert.
Yes, he worked with a management consultant, created a playbook for small businesses. It's about clear communication, accountability, regular meetings that actually have a purpose.
So no more meetings for the sake of meetings. I like it. Tell me more about the system.
He outlines 5 key meetings: the all-staff meeting, the leadership meeting, department stand-ups, personal priority speed checks, and quarterly performance reviews.
Okay, let's break those down. The all-staff meeting is pretty self-explanatory. Everyone gets together, discuss company-wide goals and updates.
Right. It's a chance for everyone to feel connected to the bigger picture. Then you've got the leadership meeting, where the leadership team hashes out strategy, makes key decisions.
And then department stand-ups are quick, daily check-ins. Each department stays on track with their tasks.
Exactly. It's all about keeping the momentum going. And personal priority speed checks are one-on-one between managers and team members to discuss individual progress, provide support.
It's about fostering accountability and making sure everyone feels valued. And finally, we have the quarterly performance reviews, more formal assessments, individual progress, contributions to company goals.
Wow, it's a lot of meetings. But I can see how each one has a purpose, contributes to a well-oiled machine.
Right. And Miller emphasizes that this system is scalable. Whether you have a team of 5 or 50, the principles are the same. And he also acknowledges that not everyone is a natural operator, the person who thrives on this kind of system.
That's a relief to hear. Not all of us are wired that way. So it's okay to delegate this to someone who's better suited.
Absolutely. In fact, delegating can free you up to focus on your own strengths. And he emphasizes this isn't about micromanaging or a rigid structure. It's about providing clarity, streamlining communication, empowering your team to do their best work.
That makes sense. It's like setting up the right systems so that everyone can thrive.
Exactly. And Miller himself had to learn this lesson. He realized that he wasn't the best person to manage this, so he brought in an expert to help him create the system and implement it.
And the results speak for themselves. His business really took off once this system was in place.
It did. And it shows that you don't have to do everything yourself. Sometimes the smartest thing you can do is bring in people who are better at certain things than you are.
That's a great reminder. Okay, let's talk about cash flow. The fuel that keeps the airplane in the air. This is a topic that can make even the most seasoned entrepreneurs sweat, right?
It's true. But Miller makes it feel surprisingly manageable. And he's so honest about his own early mistakes, like running everything through one personal account. We all know that's a recipe for disaster.
Oh yeah, I've been there. It's a rookie mistake. But it can have serious consequences come tax time.
Exactly. And it creates so much confusion, hard to track your income and expenses when everything is all mixed up.
So what's the solution? How does Miller recommend we manage cash flow?
He advocates for a 5-account system: operating, personal, tax, business profit, and investment holding.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Walk me through it. What's the purpose of each account?
The operating account is your main business account. All revenue flows in, all expenses flow out, except for taxes. Your personal account is just that, your personal checking account, completely separate from the business.
Got it. So we're drawing clear boundaries from the start.
Exactly. The tax account is where you set aside money, specifically for taxes. No more scrambling at the last minute. The business profit account is where you store the profits you take out of the business, your reward for all your hard work.
Okay, I like where this is going.
And finally, the investment holding account for long-term investments and wealth building.
This is making so much sense. So all business income goes into the operating account, and you pay yourself a regular salary from that account, which goes into your personal account. You set aside a portion for taxes, which goes into the tax account. And what's left over is your profit, which you transfer to the business profit account.
You nailed it.
And once you've built up a healthy cushion in the business profit account, you can start transferring money into the investment holding account. This is where the real magic happens, right?
It is. This is where you invest your profits
Yeah.
in assets that will generate passive income and grow your wealth over time. And Miller is a big believer in the power of compounding. Small, consistent investments can grow exponentially over time.
This has given me so much hope. It's like creating a system where your business works for you, not the other way around.
That's the goal. And Miller provides some really insightful tips on how to make this system work for you. He recommends setting high watermarks for your operating and business profit accounts.
High watermarks, what are those?
It's a predetermined amount of money that you want to keep in each account at all times. For example, your operating account high watermark might be enough to cover 2 months of expenses, and your business profit account high watermark might be 6 times that amount to ensure you have a solid rainy day fund.
So once you hit those high watermarks, you transfer the excess to the appropriate account.
Exactly. It's a simple but effective way to manage your cash flow. Make sure you're always in a strong financial position. It's counterintuitive. Most people would say invest any extra money you have right away.
But this system makes sure you're prioritizing the health and stability of your business first.
Exactly. You're building that solid foundation before you start reaching for the stars.
I love this. It's like we're building a financial fortress. Okay, so we've covered the 6 key components of the small business flight plan: guiding principles, marketing, sales, products, overhead and operations, and cash flow.
We've laid the groundwork. Now it's time to put this plan into action.
Let's do it.
So we covered the 6 key parts of the small business flight plan: guiding principles, marketing, sales, products, overhead and operations, and cash flow. But how do we actually make it happen?
Right. Having this flight plan's great, but if we don't know how to use it, it's just a pretty picture.
You got it. Miller gives us lots of practical advice, though.
So where do we even start?
He suggests an assessment, actually. He's got this free tool on his website, mybusinessreport.com. It helps you figure out where your business needs the most work.
Free resources. Those are the best. A personalized report. I like it.
Me too. And once you know your strengths and weaknesses, you can start using the framework, step by step. Miller says you don't have to do everything at once.
That's good to hear. Trying to do all 6 parts at the same time, that's overwhelming. Probably why a lot of people never grow their businesses.
Exactly. So pick one area that feels urgent or exciting. Maybe it's your mission statement, or your sales process, or getting your cash flow under control.
Right. If you're always stressed about making payroll, cash flow is probably a good place to start.
Exactly. Remember, it's a journey, not a race. You can always work on other areas later.
I like the sound of that. Okay, so we pick our starting point, we dive in, and then boom, instant success rate.
Well, I wish it was that easy. Miller's pretty clear that it takes time and effort to see results. Consistency is key here.
So it's like anything else worth doing. Patience and persistence. But having a roadmap like this, it makes it less scary.
Absolutely. And Miller says you can adapt it to fit your needs. One size doesn't fit all.
That's good to know. We're not locked into some rigid system. We can make it our own. Not like cramming our business into a box.
Exactly. You decide what order to do things in. What's most important to you. If cash flow is a pain, tackle that first. If your marketing isn't working, start with the story brand framework.
Love it. Okay, so we've got this framework, we're using it, but how do we know if it's working?
Great question. Miller talks about tracking your progress and making changes. Remember those economic objectives, those are your markers.
Right, we're not just setting them and forgetting them, we're constantly checking and making adjustments.
Exactly. And Miller says to celebrate the wins. It's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day and forget how far you've come.
Oh, I do that all the time.
Yeah.
Always looking to the next goal, and I forget to appreciate the wins.
I think a lot of us do that, but celebrating even the small wins, that's huge for motivation.
Totally. And Miller talks about embracing the learning process, too. Every challenge, every setback is an opportunity to grow.
That growth mindset, it's not about being perfect, it's about getting better over time. I think that can really change your view, especially when you feel discouraged. Instead of seeing challenges as failures, you see them as learning experiences.
You take the pressure off. It's not about not making mistakes, it's about learning from them. I remember I used to be terrified of sales calls. I thought I had to be this super confident salesperson.
But being real is often better than being perfect.
Oh, that's so true. I finally realized that people respond better to genuine enthusiasm,
Yeah.
to someone who's real. So I stopped trying to be someone I wasn't and focused on connecting with people, sharing my passion.
I bet that changed things.
It did. I closed more deals, but more importantly, I enjoyed it more.
That's awesome. And it goes back to something else Miller talks about. Building a strong team. It's not a solo mission.
It can be lonely at the top. Even if you're surrounded by people, if you don't have support, it's isolating.
Totally. Having people who share your vision and are excited about the work can change everything. It's like having cheerleaders. But also people who challenge you and see things differently.
It's that sense of community and shared goals. That can be powerful. Miller talks about how he used to feel trapped in his business, like a machine he couldn't get out of. But when he started using his system, everything changed.
He talked about how his business became a community, working together toward a common goal. I love that.
Me too. It's not just about money. It's about building something that matters.
And Miller says the goal of growing a business is to create freedom, financial freedom, time freedom, the freedom to do what you love.
That's what we all want, right? You create a life we love. It's not just making money, it's making a life.
Exactly. It takes work and dedication, but you can do it. Miller's proof of that.
Okay, before we move on, let's go back to that free assessment, the one on Miller's website. Can you remind everyone about that?
Of course. It's called My Business Report, and it's at mybusinessreport.com. It's a bunch of questions to help you look at the 6 key areas of your business and see your strengths and weaknesses.
It's like a roadmap for growth. And it's free. Miller really wants to help people.
He really does. And he's got tons of other resources on his website, articles, videos, even online courses.
This is great. There's no excuse for not doing something. The tools are there.
It's up to you to use them. Okay, ready for something interesting? Miller talks about how you can use these ideas for more than just your business, like for a new marketing project.
I love that. It's like being strategic in everything you do.
Right. Thinking bigger. Using these principles to be successful in all areas of your life. We've talked about serving our customers, making them the hero. But what about getting the right customers in the first place?
That's interesting. Not all customers are the same. I've definitely had clients who made me want to quit.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
Just like you want a great team, you want great clients. The ones who appreciate you, respect your boundaries, and pay you on time.
Couldn't agree more.
So how do we do that? It starts with knowing who your ideal client is. What are they like? What do they value? What are their goals?
It's like creating a profile, right? That way, you're not wasting time on the wrong people.
Exactly. And it means saying no to clients who aren't a good fit, even if it means losing money in the short term.
That's hard, especially when you're starting out and need every project.
It is. But Miller says that building a sustainable business means being picky. It's better to work with clients you like, even if you miss out on some things. It's about quality over quantity.
Right. In the long run, those ideal clients will be better, financially and emotionally. It's like building relationships that fuel your passion and your business. I'm ready to find my dream clients. What about you?
Me too. It's about being intentional and strategic. And remember, it's a process. You might not get it right away, and that's okay. You can always change things as you learn.
That's a great point. Okay, we've covered a lot in this deep dive. What are the key things you want people to remember?
I think the biggest thing is that building a successful business is possible. It's a process with steps, and Miller's small business flight plan gives you a roadmap.
So no more feeling lost or overwhelmed. There's a plan, and we can do it.
Exactly. And it's okay to ask for help. You don't have to do it alone. In fact, building a good team and letting others handle some things frees you up to focus on what you're good at, and you get better results.
Teamwork makes the dream work. And sometimes that team includes experts, mentors, and people who support you.
So true. And finally, remember to enjoy the journey. Growing a business should be an adventure, a time of learning and growth.
Absolutely. It's not about working yourself to death. It's about finding joy and creating a life you love. And don't forget that free assessment, mybusinessreport.com. That's a great first step.
It is. And Miller has other resources on his website, too. Make sure to check them out.
Okay. Any final words of wisdom? What's that one thing you want people to hold on to?
Remember that you can do great things. Don't let fear stop you. Take action, be consistent, and never stop learning. And like Miller says, have fun.
That's great.
Yeah.
I think we've landed this small business flight plan. Until next time. Okay, so we're talking about those right clients. The ones that don't make you want to hide. Not the ones you regret ever starting your business for.
Right. It's like we've got this great plane, but we have to be careful who we let on.
Because some passengers are a lot to handle. Some customers are just draining. I know I've taken on any project in the past.
Yeah.
Especially when I was first starting out.
It happens. But think about it this way. Would you let anyone into your house? No. You want to make sure they're good people, respectful, trustworthy. Same with your business.
I like that our businesses are like our babies.
Yeah.
We put so much into them, we have to protect them.
Exactly. And it starts with who is your ideal client? Who do you enjoy working with? What are they like? What's important to them? And what are the things that make you go, nope?
It's like a no-fly list.
Yes.
For your business.
Yes. And once you've got that list, you can start attracting the right clients and keep the wrong ones away. That story brand framework we talked about, it's not just about getting any customer. It's about the right ones.
Okay, how do we do that? Fancy marketing tricks.
It's more about being clear and knowing what you want. When you know who you want to work with, it shows in everything you do. Your website, your social media, how you talk about your business. It attracts the right people.
It's like setting the right tone. Reminds me when I redesigned my website to show my brand's personality and values.
That happened.
I started getting better clients. The ones who understood me and wanted to work with me. And the best part, I actually wanted to work with them too.
That's great. It shows what happens when you're clear on who you want to work with.
So we talked about getting the right clients, but what about saying no to the wrong ones? That's hard when you need the money.
It is a challenge. Remember, Miller says it's a marathon, not a sprint. It's better to have a good business with clients you love than to get burnt out saying yes to everything.
It's like you can't pour from an empty cup. If you're always working with people who drain you, you won't be your best.
Those clients usually end up costing you more anyway. More time, more stress. You miss out on the good clients.
So it's about quality over quantity. Building a business that's good for you and good for your wallet.
Yes, Miller doesn't actually talk about finding the right clients in his book, but it makes sense with his ideas. It's all about being intentional and smart with every part of your business.
I agree. It's like that small business flight plan. Only let the best people on board.
Good analogy. Just like a pilot needs a plan. We need a plan for our business. Who do we want to work with? How do we want to work with them?
Makes sense. This has been such a helpful deep dive. I feel like I have a whole new set of tools to build a business that's successful and makes me happy.
Me too. And remember, it's a journey. Things will happen. But with the right tools and the right attitude, you can handle anything.
Totally. And you're not alone. There are other people out there going through the same thing. Don't be afraid to ask for help and celebrate the good stuff.
Couldn't agree more. And if you want to learn more, definitely check out Donald Miller's book, How to Grow Your Small Business. It's amazing.
Yes. And don't forget the show notes. We'll have links to all the resources we talked about, including that free assessment on mybusinessreport.com.
Good point. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep building those incredible businesses.
And remember those no-fly lists. See you on the next deep dive.